Hello, God bless. This is Daniel Maximov with another vlog. Today's vlog is my take on the him movement, known as the trans movement. My honest take on this can of worms. So bear with me, it's gonna be an interesting one. So this is a long-awaited video because I wanted to make this one since what happened with Scarlett Johansson, where she was bullied out of a role because she wasn't trans, and of course, the social justice group, aka the cringe group, said that since she wasn't trans, she couldn't play the role, and as a result, she ended up dropping out, which to me is very totalitarian and rude because she's an actress. She can play whomever she wants, and she can, portray whoever she wants. That's what actors are paid for, to pretend. Sorry, I'm outside, so you're gonna hear a lot of wind and cars and planes flying around. So, where was I? Oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson. So she was bullied out of the role, and therefore that story never was told. And she being a mom, so she has a daughter and a family, wasn't able. There goes her income. So, and another incident that happened was the blonde trans guy who was misgendered and then he had a fit, and that was made mainstream. Oh my goodness. And the recent gender neutral dolls that just came out, which is just, you see, this is the stories that I've been keeping up with, and each gets more pathetic as you go on. So what is my take on the movement? Okay, when a trans is brought up, the first thing that comes into my mind is the following statement: fake people have an image to maintain. So I guess you can say that that's associated with social media, where people now make profile pictures and avatars and etc. of things that they wish they were, but they aren't. Okay, I applied the same logic with trans for the following reason. If you're taking medications, if you're going to surgery, and to the extent that you want to re-engineer your body to the point where it wasn't what it used to be, what you were biologically born with, then you don't love yourself. And I don't feel like you love yourself. I guess you can go to surgery and fix some traits and some body parts that especially like wrinkles and I guess you can say lips and hair, you name it. But to re-engineer it entirely to the point that it's no longer what it used to be, I don't feel like you love yourself. And I guess you can say, and it goes under the nebula of taking the plunge to fix yourself, like how obese people go to the gym, or a slim person will go and work out to get fit. I guess it falls under the nebula of that, but I don't feel like it does, because if you truly love yourself, you do what you have to do to better your appearance. You don't have to alter it to the point where it's irreversible. And not to mention, going back to the medications, okay, because these people have a very hard time getting offended by being misgendered. Okay, if people will perceive it's not about just perceiving. Okay, if you're taking medications and you're going under the knife, then it to be true that you're not a biological man or woman. Like, it's not a hard time, it's not something so complicated to comprehend. And I'm seeing that a lot now, like the walking on eggshells on both specific spectrum of the political sphere, because it's not just a leftist thing, it's also a conservative thing that I'm seeing along with the politicians pandering to these people. But you don't, if you're taking medications and you're going under the knife continuously to change everything to the point that it's not what you were biologically born with, then chances are you don't love yourself. And I don't stand by something that is fake, and that's what I see this as, something fake and abnormal, and a violation of our senses, because people are being forced to call something for what it's not, even where it genuinely is not. Once you tell the person what you're biologically born with, obviously the bucket of cold water is going to be splat on their face, and they're going to see for what it is. And I feel like in today's society, along with social media and politics and all, people have lost touch with common sense and their senses, because how can you call something for what it's not, especially where the proof says that it's not? No matter how hard the person works to maintain the image they wish they had, it's still not real. I don't know, I feel very saddened about that. I feel very saddened because I just feel like it's fake, and it should be very hard, and it's not a happy outcome to be taking medications. Some of these people have killed themselves because the procedure has been disastrous. I'm going to put you links below so you can see for yourself what I'm talking about. Because, taking steroids, taking, pheromone therapy eventually gets tiresome, and realizing that you're, I don't know how you can stare in the mirror and the reflection that you see kind of clashes with the soul thing, Anyways, so there's 0.3% of the population, and it's getting a lot of pandering to, and they're getting into society, like with the kids, and the children books, and the the Equality Act, which I'm very against because it's anti-First Amendment, anti common sense, anti everything that that I was been taught with since I was been taught as a kid, and it's a violation of the senses, because I keep forgetting that religion. I read this article the other day about how millennials are the least religious generation yet, and how Generation C will become Generation Atheist because of the lack of religious principles and religious, core values are dwindling away. So it makes sense why this is being accepted as a norm, because in today's society there's no standards, there's no right, there's no wrong. There's just, I feel like it's lawlessness and anarchy, and following the pretense and illusions that aren't there, but we want so badly to be there that we lost our senses. This is how I feel the trans movement is, because if you go to a hospital and and the injury is below the waist, or you have a sickness like breast cancer or pancreatic cancer, you need to take those treatments required to your biological gender, Not to mention, steroids is a big no-no when you go into sports. So what about sports that are about, contact, like self-contact? Like, is that supposed to be ignored? So, and not to mention that in sports, you're taught to be savage. So I cannot picture a woman in a male sport or a man in a woman's sports. It's just not fair. It's a biological woman context or biological men contest, and for very good reason. Because otherwise, if you go into the sports for women, the woman's gonna get pancaked. You know, it's not to mention with steroids. You can only imagine. Yeah, so they're letting them into biological context, and which is ironic, really, because that means that men. It's actually very misogynistic if you really analyze it very carefully, because saying that a man can do a better job than a woman, especially in you go into a women's contest, it's just absurd and, you know, hilarious and hypocritical. Like, I don't feel that needs more. It's self-explanatory how that looks so wrong, and that's not the only thing that catches my attention. Medical intervention on kids, how little kids have typical faces. Okay, that's not being now that's being medicalized. Like, kids are transitioning at a young age where they don't even know what they want. They don't even know who they are. And that is child abuse, and not to mention because you're depriving the kid of being a kid, and it's sick and evil, really. Because I remember at that age, like, I used to play with Pokemon cards. I used to play video games. I used to just get into this stupid nonsense. I wasn't, kids are taught boy and girl, and not to mention the word baby is already gender neutral. You don't need cis and beast and earth, and I don't know how this it's just absurd, and very totalitarian, really, because I don't feel like people should be bending backwards to these people and pandering to them as if they need some special treatments, like they suffer from any ordinary people, which is absurd. Because if you go out in public with your private parts exposed, you're gonna get called. The cops are gonna, someone's gonna call the cops, throw a blanket on you, and you're gonna be taken to the police station on handcuffs, like any ordinary person would. It's just absurd what this is becoming. And in the United States, where they're the luckiest people in the world right now, because if you go to other places like Somalia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, India, you name it, outside of the United States, you go to those places, they'll get killed, and genital mutilation, and there's hanging and being thrown out of buildings. They're very lucky in the United States, very privileged, actually, and they're getting medical aid. So I don't know. I feel that we're living in the most privileged era there is, really, because everything's being accepted and being given a green light, even things that you shouldn't be given a green light. And I'm sorry if that sounds like a prohibition, but I just feel like social justice is 100% fake, and I feel like this trans movement is 100% fake. I don't feel like there's anything genuine really about it, because it's abnormal and against the senses, against morality. It's just it's just wrong. It isn't right. Like I feel like it isn't right, and more people need to speak on that, and I feel that needs to be addressed more, because I feel like this is just a can of worms, like Pandora's box that is going to explode one day, and everyone involved is gonna get their comeuppance, because I cannot, I'm losing words as I address this further, because it just feels very totalitarian, and it's very scary that we're moving in that direction. We're moving in that direction. So this is my honest take. We'll be voicing more. I'll be making more videos later on. God bless, and I'll see you guys very soon.